Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Tuesday. It's July 2nd. This will be our chart lesson for today. And real quickly, a little housekeeping before we get on to the chart lesson here. I talked about the uh, upcoming 4th of July trading holiday. Well, for some reason, they had a correction in the holiday, and they're actually going to close at noon on tomorrow and noon on Thursday, and then have a regular trading day Friday. So I don't know why they're doing it that way. It seemed like it would make more sense to close at noon on Thursday and noon on Friday, but that's not how they're doing it. They're for some reason, earlier it was going to Wednesday was going to be a full trading day, but for the equities, they're closing the market tomorrow at noon, and they're closing it at noon on Thursday. So there's no sense in, I never try to trade those days. There's usually no volume, no movement, and it's more trouble to try to trade it than it's worth your time to sit there. So um, I'm I guess today's going to be the last, and I'm going to take Friday off. So Wednesday and Thursday are holidays, and I'm going to take Friday off because I'm going to be leaving town for the 4th. So it looks like this is going to wrap our week up, and it's going to be a shorter week than we even thought. So we won't get back to our normal day until Monday, July 8th, which will be the Monday following this coming weekend. So anyway, not sure if that was the way they planned it all along, and they just put out the original wrong holiday, or if something changed and they decided to close the equities for Wednesday. I'm not sure. It was kind of odd for them to issue a correction. I've never seen them do that. Maybe it was just the broker that made the mistake or something. I'm not sure. I've never known them to take off a holiday like that on the inside of the week versus usually if there's a holiday that falls on a Thursday and they're going to take more than one day, they use the following Friday, or that Friday or whatever, not the day prior. So it's kind of odd, but anyway, it is what it is. The market's going to be closing at noon tomorrow and Thursday, and of course it'll be a regular day Friday. But I can tell you what's going to happen. Most everybody's going to take Friday off too. Uh, there could be some movement. You never know. But generally, those days are very low volume, very quiet, and very not a lot going on. So if you're here, you can try to trade it, but I'd be careful. Um, I'm not even going to waste my time. I'm planning on taking it off to begin with. So today's going to wrap up our week. Really short week, only 2 days this week. Um, but that's what it is. So anyway, let's get to the chart lesson. You can see we broke out of the range today, closed to the high side, and we could turn back down again over the next couple of days without much trading or not much going on. This is probably the Friday move before the holiday comes in. Usually, before most holidays, you'll have a big Friday move or something, one direction or the other. So maybe that's what this is. I don't know. We could. It wouldn't surprise me if we went further because we are really close to the midline there now. Okay, I had a little interruption there. I forgot to turn the ringer off on my phone. I apologize. But yes, bullish day here. It looks like we did got really close to the midline and bounced, and we do have a close outside. Well, actually, this channel is shifted. Let me put it back before I tell you that. No, we still don't have a close outside that channel. So this channel is still valid. My guess is we're going higher. This market, they're not going to let it sell off before the election. And now with the craziness with trying to replace Biden, who knows what this market's going to do. But you can bet whoever's behind. I mean, the real question is now we know Biden is not in charge. The man's not mentally capable. So if Biden's not in charge, who's calling the shots? So whoever's calling the shots is still there. Nothing's going to change. The man was nothing more than a figurehead to begin with, and that's pretty obvious now after the recent debate. Um, he's not. He doesn't have the cognitive ability to run this country. And I'm not beating down on Biden by any means, so don't take that the wrong way. I'm just making a statement here. And so whoever's running the show and whoever's calling the shots is not going to let this thing sell off. before that election because they don't need any other problems for the Democrats. They want to get a Democrat elected, and so they're going to, whoever's calling the shots is going to keep doing whatever they've been doing. And so this market's going to end up going higher even if we have a correction. So you can just bank on it. So my guess is they're going to run this back up in overbought territory again before it corrects. I mean, we could finally get a break outside in the next few days, but I don't anticipate that. And even if we do, it's just going to be a minor correction before they either take it sideways or higher, and most likely higher. So just be prepared for it. Am I always right? No. So take that with a grain of salt. But the history of election time, that's what happens. And I don't expect this year to be any different. So if it is, it'll be an anomaly. So go with the odds, and the odds are this market is not going to sell off. So there. Do with that with what you may. But that's been the history of it in the past. So, but let's flip over to the 2,000 tick chart. Take a look at it. It looked like it was going to be a range day, but prices broke out and traded higher. And you can see it looks just like that on the daily chart. You can see we were inside this range, or this congestion area. We broke higher and traded higher and closed higher. And that's the way the 2,000 tick daily intraday chart looks today. But let's flip over there and take a look. And here it is. And you can see we were in this range. It looked like we tried to get out of it several times. It looks like it was going to fail before it takes off here and rallied strongly into the close. And notice that a measured move based on the original range is up here right around 55.60, and that's where we got to right around 2:30. And then of course going into that late afternoon, there's that rally. They sold off just a little. The market just reopened a few minutes ago. It's 5:15 now, so probably won't be much happening with that at this point, but it'll trade through noon tomorrow and then close. So again, if you do trade tomorrow, trade wisely. In fact, I encourage people use these holidays to take the time off, because you need a break from trading, and you're not going to get any really good training on those days anyway. So most likely they're just going to be difficult days. And today, even though there's a lot of movement today, it was a very poor trading day. There's not many setups, not many entries, not safe ones anyway. And so there's not many trades. It's not going to take but a few minutes to go through these trades, and then we're going to wrap this week up. So it's going to go by pretty quickly. 7 o'clock came just as we were bottoming out and rallying off this bottom. Notice we got this channel coming down. We finally got a break, 2 swings to a new low, and it shoots out of there right on through the EMA, pulls back. There's 2 legs back here, unfortunately, and these do have a matching low. Let me zoom in here where we can see this. I didn't mark this trade because it looks really congested, and there's just not much room here to scalp out before you get back to that high. I mean, we're almost to these highs on this little congestion area. If this would have been a good signal bar, yeah, maybe you take that trade. With this one, I'm not crazy about it. Maybe you make that green, but I'm not crazy about that trade. Now, there was a second entry short here right at 7:30. I think I skipped over that one. You can see we're working up. You get the close outside and move to a new high. That's a second entry short right there. Take that trade, and then it pulls back here, 2 legs back, and then you get this second entry long. Okay, I'm sorry, I just keep getting interrupted here, but second entry long right there. Maybe you take that trade. It looks like we're reversing. We closed strongly back inside. I mean, that looks like rejection there. The only problem is you got resistance across here, and it's not very far away. There's probably enough to scalp out there. I'm not crazy about that trade, but if you want to be aggressive, maybe it's one you take. And then that took us into the 7:30 or 8:30 news. I'm sorry. But yeah, this was our 8:30 news. There's a possibility to enter here. I mean, things had kind of started slacking off here on the news move. This is like right at, let's see what time. I mean, 8:35. So that's 5 minutes after the news had happened. And there is a high here, and then a first entry, and a break above that's a second entry. And that is a nice signal bar right off the key entry point. It's also right off the midline of the range. So that's a possibility. I'll mark it green. And a lot of people probably say, well, it's sideways. It looks like congestion, but that doesn't really look like congestion. Um, you don't have that tiny doji in there. This looks a little like a doji, but I mean, we're still moving higher there. Then you come, so I think you could take that if you wanted to. I'm not crazy about it, especially with the news, right at the news, but you could take that trade. And you see it, if you did take it, you got to ride this out, and that usually scares people out, and they scratch out on it, and it turns out to be a good trade. And so I'm just not crazy about it. I'll give it a green, but that's just a first entry. First entry. Then we do get a close outside here too, and a couple of legs up to a new high, and then we make a lower high. I mark this green. I'm sorry, red, because it is a lower high and it's a long way from the EMA. It's still inside the trend channel, but we didn't get a retest on this one either. So, but it's definitely a lower high after you're looking for a reversal, and we are a little ways away from the EMA. So I like that trade. There's a possible trend line. You draw that off, and then you get another lower high here and another second entry short. But that, I don't like that signal bar. It's too neutral. So I don't think you want to go short there, although you do have a confirmed downward trend now. The problem is everything's still above the EMA. It looks like we're about to reverse, and we do, but it doesn't last very long. You get a break here and a new low. That's during the next news item. So no trades in there. And we come back up and we test these highs again. Now notice you get another channel up, a break, a new high, and that might be closing in its lower 1/3, but it makes a whole new high there. So you really need to wait on a lower high to be safe on this one, especially since the signal bar is not great. And notice there's a little gap there. They don't overlap. And so this thing might pull back just to fill that gap and then shoot one more leg up. You just never know. So I don't think you can trade that. You just sit tight. Then it runs down here. You get a break and a new low. And that closes back in the range. I like going long on that one. It looks like once it broke out here, you get that rejection. It should at least pull back, come back to the EMA and midline there. And you do have your break and new low of this channel as well. So, and you can see we've bounced across there a few times. So I like that one. Technically, you're better off to wait on the higher low because it does make a new low. So I only made it green. Comes back here. I don't think that signal bar is quite good enough. You do get a little channel down with a break, new low. And it is a second entry. And we've bounced there a few times. But the signal bar is just not quite good enough in my opinion. And of course, you get two legs up, and now there's a second entry here. Same thing here. Somebody asked me about this trade. You can see the channel working up, and that's the first close outside. But notice how we got a higher close than any other point across here. It's not quite a higher high, but it's a higher point. It's a higher close, which is just about the same thing because we tend to use our closes. So I'd want to see a close outside and at least attempt to make a new high here because there's a good chance it's going to go higher. So I think you got to have a lower high right there. And if you took that, you take a loser. And it just kind of chops along, and then you get a little breakout there. And you got that. I marked this one as a possibility just simply because it's 5 ticks. It's very low risk. We're getting way away from the EMA. This looks like it's probably going to be a failed breakout, but it does make a new high. So once again, you're better off to wait on the lower high to be sure. And so I just marked it green. And the lower high comes here, but you can't. That's not a tradable lower high. Really, we've moved too far. You don't want to go short at the low of the entire move, and that's what you have to do to trade that. You can't trade that on the engulfing bar either. So, but it does get a break. It attempts to make a new low, and you make a triple test across there and a double bottom with a higher low here. So you got a second entry, and this is a higher low and a second entry. And this does look like two legs back here to this trend line. So I like that one. As long as you got room to get out before these highs, I think you're good there. I wouldn't want to take it without room to get out before the resistance comes again. And we do push on higher, and then we just start working sideways. I don't see anything you can trade there, period. Longs are shorts. And then we get a trend working down, and it just reverses. You don't get a break and a new low or anything. And we do get a break of this green channel here. So it could reverse after a couple of legs up, and you see it does. It makes a couple of legs up. All this is still above the EMA. All of it looks sideways and choppy. I just don't see any way you can go short there. And finally it sells off. You get a trend working down. You get a close outside and move to a new low. And you get a nice reversal bar there, a little ways away from the EMA. Again, it looks like this is played out to the downside, at least momentarily. But again, you're better off to wait on the higher low, so I only marked it green. And you never really get a tradable higher low there. And this is just all sideways congestion, and then it just shoots off. And there's no setup there you can really enter or way to trade that. Then we're working sideways, and we work our way back to the EMA and the trend line, and notice how it trades way down here and then beats its way back and closes inside there. That looks like it's going to be a failed break lower. It's off the main key entry point with the EMA incongruence, and it's clearly a trend line there. So most likely we're going to at least trade back up and test these highs again. So I like that. Again, it's not perfect, so I didn't mark it blue, but if you're going to be aggressive, that's the kind you want to take, because you got a lot of support at your back there. You got confluence there with multiple support and resistance, plus you got a failed break out of a small trading range or congestion area that's probably going to cause prices to snap back, and they do. And again, it just kind of chops its way higher. There's no way to really trade that up through there, and then it starts working sideways. Now you did get a triple test right here, and that's tempting, but notice how we could not get through that midline for multiple bars. I don't think you can take that. I'm not going to take it, because you see what it did here, and it could easily turn down, and we're probably working towards the trend line. And sure enough, it comes back over here, and finally you get another low test of the low here, and you get a good signal bar. It closes back inside. Now it doesn't make a whole new low because it's equal to that one. It's a little lower than those two, but with it closing strongly like that, just above the EMA and just above the trend line, if we get a break above that, it's probably going higher. It takes it a few minutes to get going, but it does indeed work its way higher. And your target's probably the upper side of the trend channel, and you can see it went a little higher than that. It actually, later on, it creates a new channel here. Basically what you do is you just get a new channel that's slightly flatter here. Maybe it even starts back here. That's what it looks like to me. And there it is. All we did was we didn't really get a reversal. We more or less got just a flatter channel that's more, because that's a lot of sideways stuff. But you can see we're still working higher here all the way. Midline looks accurate, and we bounced off of it again right there before going lower. And so yeah, I don't think we had a reversal there. I think we just had a little consolidation, and a new channel starts up. So yeah, a lot of movement here, but not a lot of trades. A few green ones, there's only 2 or 3 blue or red ones. It just wasn't a very good trading day. So if you struggle today to find a good entry, it wasn't because you're struggling to find it. It's just because there weren't any. And, there's possibility that a couple of those green ones might have looked a little better on your chart or something. So you might have gotten another opportunity or two, but there weren't many. So just a weak trading day. I mean, people are on vacation. Probably a lot of people already took this whole week off. I mean, there's plenty of volume in there. I don't think that's the issue. I just think this market's, honestly, I think I've said this before. I think it's manipulated. It sure feels and looks like it, but that doesn't matter. You have to learn to trade it. It still trades following price move, typical price movements and all. So as far as any of that goes, the problem is that there's just not a lot of setups. The market is either going down and reverses and goes up, or it's going up and reverses and goes down, and it just gets stuck sideways. And when it does move, it moves straight up, and it doesn't give you any chance to really enter it. And when it runs out from running straight up, it runs straight down. And again, a lot of times it doesn't give you an opportunity to enter, not anything that's safe and obvious. So you just have to take what it can give you, and this is what separates average or bad traders from really good traders. It may not even be your skill set. It may be your ability to be patient and sit and wait on the best trades. Because when you sat here for hours, you get antsy and you suddenly start trying to make a trade. Never try to make a trade. Always let the trade show itself. If you're not 100% sure what prices are doing and you're reading it properly and finding a setup to go with the price action where you think it's going, don't take a trade. You need to be absolutely sure you're reading it properly. If not, the answer is no trade. Because we're not gamblers. We never guess and we never gamble. So keep that in mind. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this one up. Let's go and wrap up our week. It's been a very short week. The Wednesday close at noon is kind of a surprise, last minute surprise. Again, I don't know if something changed or if there was some mistakes there or why they did it that way, but it would have made more sense if they'd have given us Friday off and we could have traded through Wednesday and then taken Thursday and Friday off and had a long weekend, but that's not how they did it. But I'm going to take Friday off anyway, so we won't have another chart lesson until Monday. I won't be back in the office till Monday. So hope you have a great 4th of July holiday. If you're in the U.S. and you celebrate that, if you're elsewhere, enjoy the time off. Whatever you do where you're at, go enjoy your time with your family, your kids, your hobbies, your animals, your pets, whatever, or all of the above. But I hope everybody has a great 4th. I'll see you Monday on the July 8th when I return. We'll be back to our normal daily procedures on Monday. We'll have a mid-morning chart and a chart lesson at the end of the day. So, but for now, I'm done. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.